Peace, diehards. It's your boy Evu, the Any Star, host of this Knicks podcast. As you can see on the screen here, we're going to be talking about development of the Knicks players, man. According to you fans and a lot of media people out there, the Knicks don't develop players that we draft. We're definitely going to debunk that today, man, on this Knicks podcast. Without further ado, Knicks podcast, your boy Evu, orange and blue in the back. You see it. Let's go. Yeah, man. So let's cut to the chase, man. This is the narrative here that popped up today. It's been going on for the longest time, but this kind of irked me. Shout out to Blincy Natra, whatever his name is, Mal Vicious, whatever. We just became friends on Twitter after this little exchange. Here we go. He asks is if the Knicks trade RJ, I might have to take a break from Twitter and whatever. Okay, cool. So anyway, somebody responded to that, which the tweet is unavailable because the owner limits the amount of people that can see that tweet. I guess he did that after I started this little rant here. But I go on to ask, name that player that the Knicks drafted that got better somewhere else. Okay, this is like via trade, right? So let's do it, man. Let's see what else they had to say. So here's another tweet that was limited due to the owner, and I believe that was the owner of this tweet here. I believe it was my new friend here, Malus, whatever his name is. I believe it was him that did that. So let's go back here because I clicked it by accident, and let's look what I had to say. He said something about Rod Strickland was one of them, and he listed a whole bunch of other guys too. But out of the names that he mentioned, Rod Strickland might meet the qualifications. We'll get into that in a second. But he technically didn't get better on the other team. He was already good. It's just that we decided to trade him to San Antonio for Mo Cheeks. At the time in the 80s, whatever, it was more valuable to have that veteran guy. So it's just a sign of those times. We already had Mark Jackson, and then we drafted Rod Strickland a couple years later. It was a mistake if they were going to go that route. But like I said, during that time, go back to Dirk Harper. We wouldn't we went and got Dirk Harper after Doc Rivers got himself hurt or whatever. But Doc Rivers was old himself. He already had plenty of years in Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? So he was like a worn out guy by the time he got to the Knicks. But like I said, that's what we did back in the 80s. That's what the NBA did. It was very vet heavy, and it wasn't really like didn't really rely on rookies. They didn't trust rookies. They valued the veterans, man. So that was just a victim of that. So I also mentioned Trevor Ariza. Trevor Ariza is basically the only person that we drafted that as soon as he went to the other team, they got better. So let's just get into that, man. Let's get rid of this here. Let's get into it. I'm gonna cite another article by somebody that I hate, and he hates me too because we had exchanges in many of the different accounts that I had on Twitter, but on this diehard Knicks thing, I don't follow him here. You know what I'm saying? He was like the first person I blocked as soon as I got here. But we're gonna cite his article here. And the only reason why I'm doing that is because of this beautiful picture that he has. So let me make it a little bit bigger so you guys can see. So with this picture, he has a nice little graphic just citing the different people that we drafted. Patrick Ewing stayed here for 13 years in the playoffs. Kenny Skywalker. When we got rid of him, he went to the Washington Bullets. This is all off of my head. Common knowledge of basketball players, man. I don't have to give you history on these different guys. Kenny Walker was out the league several years later, man. He did not have a better career once he left the Knicks. He averaged 10 points a game when he's with the Knicks. When he went to the other teams, he just didn't play well. Mark Jackson, he was a rookie of the year. His best career statistically was his first year with the Knicks. So he didn't get better when he went to another team. Mark Jackson, we chose to keep him outside of Rod Strickland. They were drafted back to back. 1987, Mark Jackson. 1988, Rod Strickland. Why did we draft Rod Strickland? Because he probably was the best player available, and we were they were having infighting and all kind of stuff like who was the man and whatever. Rod Strickland didn't like playing behind Mark Jackson. He thought he was better. So whatever infighting was going on, they made a decision. They traded Rod Strickland to San Antonio, and we ended up getting Mo Cheeks, like I said. But it wasn't that that Ross Strickland was developed better by San Antonio, or the Knicks don't know how to develop their players. It's just that they made a decision. If we would have traded Mark Jackson, then Ross Strickland would went on to do whatever he did. And I wish we would have done that, because it turns out that we ended up trading Mark Jackson anyway, to the Clippers to get Charles Smith and whatever. But anyway, hindsight is all 2020. We ended up going to the finals, making these series of trades, man. So whatever. Gerard Mustaf, one of the worst draft picks that we've ever had. Greg Anthony, absolutely terrible. You know, once he left the Knicks, maybe he did well in the what's it called, the Vancouver Grizzlies, but it's just because they gave him minutes. You know, it's not like that Vancouver all of a sudden developed him to be better. What's the name? Greg Anthony was in the league for several years already before he went to the Grizzlies. And when he went to Portland, it's not like he had statistically better years. You know what I'm saying? He actually was putting up similar numbers that he put in the Knicks, so he didn't get better, you know, per se. Hubert Davis, Hubert Davis topped off like around 10 points, 11 points a game with the Knicks, 3-point shooter. Went to the finals with the dude. When he went to Washington Wizards and all the other teams that he went through in his career, he didn't he didn't all of a sudden score 20 points a game. He just basically stayed the same. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I don't see the narrative yet. Where is the narrative? And I'm only on 92. I went from 85 to 92. This is going to be drawn out, guys. So, but for those that you know that always bring this up, just send them this video. Send them this video and let them see and let them hear me read all these names out. Monty Williams, we drafted him. He had that heart problem or whatever was wrong with him. You know, now he's a former Pelican assistant coach, and now he's going to the NBA Finals. Maybe the Knicks didn't develop him as a coach, and he went to wherever he went to and developed as a coach, and now he's in the finals. So maybe you could say that. But as a player, he had that heart problem. He went to San Antonio. He wasn't like a key member in their rotation. You know, Monty Williams wasn't a good NBA basketball player. You know, he was decent. You know, swing man. You know, he had height and stuff like that. But like I said, he almost was out the league due to health reasons. Let's go to Charlie Ward. Charlie Ward, we kept him basically his whole career. He went to San Antonio for a year or so before he retired. John Wallace, you know, we took a chance drafting him. Like, I thought he should have been way better than he was. You know, then he went off and went to Toronto. You know, maybe Toronto, he scored a bit more, but not because Toronto developed him more. It's because he just got more minutes. You know, then he came back to the Knicks and still didn't do anything. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's him. Walter McCarty got his chance with the Knicks, whatever, but he ended up getting traded to the Celtics, and he went on to have a nice little career coming off the bench for the Celtics. But it's not necessarily that he got better or that the Boston developed him more. It's just that he got an opportunity. He did play with the Knicks, though. He played a little bit with the Knicks and got a chance to show that he could play. You know, so it has nothing to do with that. Dante Jones, if I'm not mistaken, went to jail. He got himself involved in something illegal. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but he said he never played a game for the Knicks because, like I said, he got cut, and then he later on got in trouble with that type of stuff. John Thomas, you know, who was John Thomas? Anybody know who he is? You know, he went. I remember when he went to Boston, and then he was out the league after a while. Frederick Weiss. I'm not going to talk badly about Frederick Weiss because for those that don't know, he got jumped over by Vince Carter. He's like the one of the first memes, and people love to talk about him and laugh and joke about him. But the guy almost killed himself over that because it was embarrassing, and it made his life and his career go down the rabbit hole. And you know, look up the New York Times article they did on Frederick Weiss. You know, it's kind of a sad story. So, you know, just educate yourself before you just go straight to start dissing people, man, because not everybody's built for that spotlight. And Frederick Weiss definitely you know, went through the ringer in his life. Daniel Harvey was a bum. He got traded to Dallas before his you know, before the rookie season started. So it doesn't really count. He never actually played a game as a Knick. Nene never played a game as a Knick. He got traded in the Antonio McNice deal. Sweetly, you know, out the league due to being fat. You know, that's another guy too that had a lot of self-esteem issues and things of that nature, man. So I don't want to talk badly about Sweetney, but you know, he ate himself out the league. Shannon Fry, he went on to Cleveland and this and the other, develop a jump shot. If you want to say that he got developed and got better, Tyson Chandler, you could put that on the list. But we talk from 1985 all the way to 2005 that you maybe could put Shannon Fry on that list. But Shannon Fry's averaged more points and I want to say rebounds when he was on the Knicks. Definitely more minutes. And he was like featured a lot. We thought he was going to be the next Tim Duncan and this, that, and the other. So we did our fair share of developing Shannon Fry. David Lee, drafted in the same class, same position, ended up making the All-Star team. So, David Lee went to the All-Star team. Shannon Fry didn't. Did we develop Shannon Fry? Did we not develop Shannon Fry? But we developed David Lee. You can't have it both ways. You know what I'm saying? You can't have it both ways. They're both on the same team, drafted the same year. You can't say that Shannon Fry wasn't developed properly, but David Lee was. You can't have it both ways, man. Yeah, Shannon Fry absolutely does not belong on that non-developed list because he played decent for the Knicks. He started for us. We were trying to make him more than he was, and he goes to another team and ends up being just a role player, spot up 3-point shooter for a big man. You know what I'm saying? So it missed me with that. Ronaldo Balkman, excuse me. I always say Blackman because you're always thinking about Ronaldo Blackman. But Ronaldo Balkman, Isaiah Thomas took a chance with this guy. To me, I thought that he should have got a more chance in the league. But I guess the NBA at the time didn't know what to do with somebody like him because he can't really shoot. But at the time, they weren't really looking for shooters. But he could dribble for his size, play defense, run the floor. When he went to Denver, he did get an opportunity to play, but he already got his opportunity with the Knicks because Isaiah Thomas wanted him to succeed. You know what I'm saying? So he doesn't count. Marty Collins was our starting point guard at one point. A lot of people wanted him to be the starting point guard. After we traded him or got rid of him wherever he went, he didn't do nothing. You know what I'm saying? Wilson Chandler, he topped off, I want to say like 14 or 16 points a game as a Knick. Come on, man. Dylan Lagarneri, same thing. Topped off at 16 points a game, whatever it was. Jordan Hill was a complete draft bust. He was okay coming off the bench for certain teams, whatever. The Knicks were trying to do something with him. D'Antoni tried to make him a 3-point shooter. Try to figure out something to get him in the NBA to boost his whatever. But it didn't work. He ended up going to the Lakers and dealing with Kobe and stuff like that. He's not a good player. Did any other team develop him more than the Knicks did? No. Amon Shumpert, he went to the finals with Cleveland because we traded him there. Did he get better in Cleveland? Did Cleveland develop him more? No. He was in the NBA for years already. Amon Shumpert, was developed here to be the point guard, to be a defensive guy coming off the bench. We wanted him to be a scorer. We gave him every opportunity to succeed when he was here on the Knicks, man. So it has nothing to do with development. Tim Hardaway Jr., out of all these years, now we get to, Ross Strickland is one. But like I said, Ross Strickland was already ready to start the NBA, but the Knicks made the decision to trade him rather than Mark Jackson. But, all that stuff ended up getting us to the NBA Finals anyway. So Mark Jackson Ross Strickland shouldn't be on that list. So anyway, here we go. 2013, the first person that possibly could be on the list outside of Mark Jackson, right? So Tim Hardaway Jr., he gets here, averaged 10 points a game his first year, averaged 10 points a game his second year. You mean to tell me the Knicks didn't develop him? Did it get better once he left? Here's the question with that. When he went to Atlanta, he spent his first year on and off the bench, and he sent him to the damn G League, man. Then the next year, he ended up averaging 14 points a game due to injury. They had nobody else to play, so they had to play Tim Hardaway Jr., and he averaged 14 points a game because of minutes. If the Knicks would have gave him his minutes in his first two years, he would have averaged 14 points a game as well. So Atlanta didn't do a better job developing. They just gave him minutes because of opportunity. The Knicks ended up bringing him back, and he scored 17 points a game for the Knicks. Did the Knicks get credit for letting him get that 17 points a game? Come on, man. This thing only goes up to 2013. So I'm gonna leave that, right? I'm gonna leave that alone. It's my beautiful face here. So I have one more thing to look at. This is Basketball Reference, just to get the rest of the numbers out of here. If anybody wants to go back, I'll refer to this here. So this is Basketball Reference. It's on very small type. So I'll try to get as close as I can here. 2013, Tim Hardaway Jr. We got a couple other guys. We got this guy from Portland. Costas never came to the NBA. If he did, he never played. Andy Rottens, these are some of these guys. Landry Fields, we drafted him. Did he get better when he went to another team? No, he did not. He ended up having some freak injury and never playing again. Toronto, the Knicks developed him to the point where Toronto gave him a poison pill contract. You know what I'm saying? So that's another testament to how good the Knicks are with their development, right? Some of the guys that I have on there, Machi Lampe from 2013. We gave him a shot. Where was he? He never played a game in the NBA. Mike Sweetney, like I mentioned, Slavo Avranis. If you remember, Isaiah Thomas was praising these guys. Some of the other guys, Skinnis Veely that we picked up from Denver. He gave Isaiah Thomas gave him a shot and was calling him Skeeter and encouraging him to shoot the ball because he was good. You can't say the Knicks never tried to develop anybody. Michael Wright, I remember Michael Wright. Michael Wright from Arizona. We gave him an opportunity to play. He didn't do well. He didn't do nothing on the other team. You could just go down the line. LeVar Postel, just go, for freaking history. Just scroll down to all the way to the freaking 70s. There's nobody that went to another team that did better. Let's talk about the post 2013. Thanasis. We gave Thanasis every opportunity to succeed when he was here, man. You know what I'm saying? He goes to the Bucks and now he thinks he's good because he's with his brother. He was out the league, man. His brother brought him back. Clint Anthony early, we gave him an opportunity because we were bad at the time. We gave him an opportunity to do well. He just didn't. Kristaps, did we or did we not develop Kristaps? He was able to get that money. He was an all-star as a Knick. He was already an all-star as a Knick. He did not get better when he went to Dallas. Damian Dotson. How many years did we have Damian Dotson? Did he get better that 1 year when he went to Cleveland when he bust our ass that one time? Does that mean that Cleveland got developed him better? No, man. We gave Damian Dotson every opportunity to succeed in the NBA. You know what I'm saying? Is he on the team right now? Ask yourself that. Frank Ntilikina. That's an ongoing thing. The guy's a bust. You can't say that the Knicks never gave him a chance, and you can't say, if he goes to another team, it's gonna be like the Knicks, like in the past. I just read to you from 2003 that there was no draft pick, and even before, 1985 is where I started from. I started from 1985. There was no draft pick that went to another team after we traded them and did better than when they were in the Knicks. No, there's no player. If you want to say Ross Strickland, but I already gave you a reason why he shouldn't be on the list. You want to say Tim Hardaway Jr.? I already gave you a reason why he should not be on the list. Other than those two players, there is nobody else in the history of draft picks for the Knicks. There's one player though that this in that picture there that I didn't mention, and I don't even see him here. I don't even see him here. I don't know why he's not listed. There you go. Trevor Ariza. There you go. 2004, Trevor Ariza. Out of the history since 1985, I didn't go before that. 1985, Trevor Ariza is the only player that we drafted and then later on traded that ended up doing well. He went to the Lakers, started for them, won a championship. He started on basically every other team that he's ever been on, always averaged double figures, 14 points a game, got better in his three-point shooting. The Knicks did not give Trevor Ariza a chance to develop as a Knick, because we traded him to try to get the star player to get better. He is the only one in Knicks history from the Patrick Ewing era, 1985 to now, that we traded that got better on another team. You can't tell me that I'm crazy, and you can't tell me that I'm capping or anything else that you want to say. You can't. Trevor Ariza is the only one that went to another team and did better than when he was on the Knicks. There you have it. The career of Frank Ntilikina is still not over. We still might end up paying him to keep him around. Mitchell Robinson is still here. We're still developing Kevin Knox. Whose fault is Kevin Knox? Because we don't develop players. I just read through the whole damn list. The Knicks have done their job developing the players that we drafted. You know what I'm saying? And if we didn't develop them, they didn't go to another team and get better. They did not play better on another team. It's just bullshit. It's bullshit. Obi Toppin is still here. We didn't trade him yet. RJ Barrett is still here. You know what I'm saying? The narrative. Let me be clear. Let me also just get this off the screen so you guys can see me. In NBA history, Knicks history, there has never been a player that left the Knicks via trade that we drafted that got better on another team. The only player is Trevor Ariza. Okay, if you just come in and on this live, check the replay. For those that watch this on the replay or caught this on the live, please share this to whoever keeps saying it, okay? Because it's not true. It's not true. if you want to say something, the Knicks developed plenty of players. There's another player that we drafted that wasn't on the list because we got him via trade because Nate Robinson was actually drafted by Phoenix, and we traded for Nate Robinson. So he never played a game for Phoenix at the time, but then he ended up being our draft pick after we made the trade. Nate Robinson did not get better when he left here. His best year was 17 points a game. Listen, I'm not even showing you the stats. This is just a diehard Knicks fan on a YouTube channel giving you the knowledge off his head. He averaged 17 points a game 1 year as a Knick. He also got benched by D'Antoni for like a month or so, and his first game back, he gets 41 points. Okay, he goes to the Chicago Bulls in a playoff run. It saves their playoffs. Okay, is that because Chicago developed him? No, he was already a player on the Knicks. He was already a good player on the Knicks. The Knicks gave him opportunity to shine. 17 points a game. He averaged double figures plenty of times. His shooting percentage, everything was great. Isaiah Thomas gave every opportunity to succeed. After that era and stuff with D'Antoni and whatever, that all went to shit because we were in a bad place at that time. It doesn't mean that Nate Robinson did not get an opportunity and was not developed by our coaching staff. Shout out to D'Antoni once again because D'Antoni had a hard on for him and just didn't want him on the team. He ended up going to Boston. Like I said, he went to Chicago and saved their franchise because they weren't trying to play him. They weren't trying to play Nate. And when Derrick Rose got hurt, Nate Robinson saved their season. And then what did they do to Nate? They didn't resign him or nothing. He ends up going to another team. So don't blame that on the Knicks. The Knicks gave him every opportunity to succeed when he was here. Like I said, Trevor Ariza is the only player in Knicks history that went to another team and did better after the Knicks traded him. What's that dude on the meme? Nothing else to say. I see people here in the comments. There's 15 comments here. I'm spitting facts here. I'm not capping on anything. I gave you history. I gave you players. I gave you years. I gave you scenarios. I gave you stats off of my head because I'm a diehard Knicks fan. I know what the hell I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? What's up, guys? We got State here. Yo, shout out to State. Also got our Knicks podcast. We're gonna do a podcast like around 9 o'clock. It's 8 o'clock now, so you'll see me again on at 9 o'clock. Yeah, man. We traded Strickland for a guy that went to the Hall of Fame. I believe Maurice Cheeks is in the Hall of Fame. So, what can you do? Like I said in the beginning of the pod, they during that time, the whole NBA valued veterans more than anything. And I shouted out Doc Rivers. We went and got Doc Rivers because he was a veteran point guard. When he went down, who did we go and get? Derek Harper, because that's what NBA teams were on. They were on veterans. They only wanted veterans. That's all that is to say. Woodshed, shout out to Woodshed. I haven't seen Woodshed in a while. Yeah, man. Kids didn't play any A's. They straight up didn't, unless they were phenomenal. Unless they were phenomenal basketball players, they played. But if it was something about developing, you develop it in practice, bro. You weren't playing. You weren't playing just to play in the 80s and 90s and even the 2000s. This shit about play, like, oh no, let them play. Let them play. Let them play has only been happening now. You know what I'm saying? What is this like dance music from the 80s? Let the players play. You know what I'm saying? I'm showing my age, but come on, man. That's how long ago. That's how long ago we have to dig deep for answers here. Here goes Joshua Rivera. What's up, Joshua? Knicks jersey is a heavy jersey. Yeah, man. But either you can play or you can't. It has nothing to do with the Knicks jersey. Shout out to you. Thank you, Joshua. I'm not yelling at you for that, but I'm just saying. You can't say the jersey's too heavy. Some of these guys were just trash. They didn't belong in the NBA. You know what I'm saying? Maybe if you want to say the Knicks can't draft, if you want to say that, then say that. Don't say that the Knicks can't develop nobody. Scott Walker was definitely a waste. Absolutely. Yeah, man. What's up, Kareem Grant? Thank you, Kareem, for always popping in. Shout out to you, man. Thank you for always coming in. Josh Rivera. Oh my God. I gotta save some for State and Apollo for later, man. Yeah, man. Ah, boy. What happened with our players what happened with our players is that they moved on and played with better players. But they still didn't play better. What are you talking about? What are you talking about, Joshua? You trying to say that the Knicks traded them they went to teams that had better talent. That's why they didn't play. So what are you trying to say? That the Knicks still are guilty of not developing them, but the other team because they had better players. The Knicks were good for a long time, man. From 1985, I was talking about 1985 up until now. We were only bad from 2001, from 2001 up until Melo got here. Excuse me, Amari Stoudemire from 2001 to when Amari Stoudemire got here. So when was that? 2006 or whenever this guy LeBron James made that decision from 2001 to the decision. Kareem Grant. Yeah, he was in a bad situation, but at the same time, he got opportunity to be here. Yeah, State is laughing at me. And we'll hang out later, man. Once again, and for those that are watching, we're gonna be on again at 9 o'clock with Guard Up Knicks and State of New York Knicks podcast. We're gonna talk some RJ Barrett. Here goes Joe Curry. Shout out to Joe Curry. Not until Kevin Garnett before him, it was Moses Malone, and he went to the NBA. I guess you guys are talking about something that I missed. The podcast should be about who we didn't draft. Man, that's a whole nother freaking story, man. Who we didn't draft. You can say that if you want, but like I said, if you want to say the Knicks can't draft, then fine. There's plenty of times you can cite the Fred Weiss thing. We should have drafted Artest. Okay, everyone says that, but say something else. Everybody always goes to Fred Weiss. Say something else. Throughout the Knicks history, we could have drafted other players, but the Joker from Denver. We could have drafted Joker, but Joker was drafted like 54. So how many other teams bypassed them? You know what I'm saying? So whatever, man. Shout out to you, Peter Lacey. Tune in again at 9. I'm about to get off here so I can get ready for that show. So anyway, what about Gallinari? I mentioned Gallinari. Just you guys gotta watch the replay. You're not late on Big Task. Just watch the replay. Joshua Rivera is still talking. It's not that the Knicks can't develop talent, just they just move on to teams that have better players, which make them look better because. But I just listen. Watch this podcast over again because the players that went to other teams they didn't get better because of the team. They weren't good players. They just weren't good. They weren't good players. Don't say that they didn't get opportunity because they weren't better teams. No, they weren't good players because they weren't in the NBA. After they left the Knicks after a while. Okay. Anyway, Joe Curry, youth movement and how it hindered the NBA. Yeah, man, that's a podcast for another day, man. So I'll write that down. Maybe I'll get into it. Here you go with this bullshit. The Knicks could have got Clyde Drexler. You said Drexel. There's nobody named Drexel. Maybe Clyde Drexler. How? We could have got Chuck Person. That's one guy that we could have gotten, but the Knicks pick next, so there's nothing we can do. Nothing we can do about stuff like that. Anyway, I'm gonna end the podcast, so I'll see you guys again at 9 o'clock. Once again, share this podcast. Whoever keeps saying the bullshit that the Knicks every time they draft somebody and trade them, they get better on another team or they play better on another team because it's fucking bullshit. Sorry for the cursing, but I'm out of here. See you guys on the next one. Peace. Oh, I haven't done this in a while. 4 fingers to the forehead, tucking the thumb, salute. That's what I say on the podcast, man. See you guys at 9.